9 o'clock. I guess we can call the extension meeting to order. With the first order of business would be comments from the public related to items on the agenda, requests for next month's meeting. Did you have anything, Kate?
Yes, Steve, thank you. I was invited to go to the UW-Madison Division of Extension and Education Steering Committee. And so we had our last meeting April 5th. And at that meeting, there was obviously a motion to approve the minutes from the February the 8th one. And what they are searching for is the history of how extension and counties came together. And there was a slide presentation about how that happened. And I've got it, and if I'm not mistaken, Steve, you've got the minutes from that. Oh, excuse me, the minutes from that meeting. Oh, I'm sorry.
Call from Pat Brisk.
There we go. Now I've turned it off. Thank you. And it says background information on UW Extension. Catherine Nieswender and Jason Hausler shared a PowerPoint presentation discussing the history of extension, extension's structure and organizational chart, services provided, communication tools. Area director is the first point of contact, so watch out, Chris. And contracts, guidance, documents with the counties. And there is a copy of that on this piece of paper I've got. Discussion included is the questions about extension's role in fairs, questions on county input related to the evaluation of educators, inquiry on how counties can provide input into the current strategic planning process, level of county input in general. Is it a true partnership? Guidance document, is it being followed? Perceptions of extension given recent bad history, how to put a positive spin back on the extension. Now, I would tell you that from my perspective, that's not how I see our committee, but this is from other counties and how they're seeing it. And we've probably got about, I'm going to say 15 other counties that are on this committee. So basically I didn't join, hey, y'all, I didn't join a whole lot in the discussion. How about that? The committee discussed its goals for the next meeting. Committee staff will survey committee members about their top 3 to 5 pain points with extension. And Chair Kenny and staff will review the results and choose the top items as discussion topics for our June meeting. And basically, Jason is going to pull together a folder with all of this information in it. So there we are. If y'all have 3 to 5 points that you want me to send to this committee as far as what you want to have discussion on, I'm happy to present it. And with that, I am done, I believe.
Would you like that on the agenda for next month to discuss that?
Yeah, I am happy to. Or Amy, are you going to put it on the agenda?
I moved you up to the public comments because you said you were leaving at 10:30. Otherwise, you could have waited until the committee. But if you lasted longer than 10:30, then you'd have been gone and you wouldn't have got a chance to tell us that.
Yeah, well, Steve, I appreciate that very much. Thank you, sir.
Any other comments? Next, we go on to approval of the March 16th minutes.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then we go to safety share.
Well, here we are. It's spring. And what do we do in spring? We go outside, we wash windows, we prune bushes. I think my subject for today is ladder safety.
I mean, chair. I didn't use a ladder last time, Tom.
So, just remember, in fact, there's some companies, Kimberly Clark will not allow ladders on their premises at all. Everything has to be done with scissor lifts.
Well,
With what are they called?
Scissors lifts.
Yeah.
It's a device that goes up in the air, and you have a harness on, and you're tying to it so you can't fall. But that, we don't have that benefit. But what we do have is that, how many of us have step ladders? Everybody have a step ladder? Is it a 6-foot step ladder?
I'm scared of heights.
15, that's man.
We have a big one at home too.
Well, and that's it. You gotta use the right device for the right job. Because to have a 6-foot step ladder and go up and clean out eave troughs, you're asking for trouble. So, common sense says, make sure that your ladder has a good base to it. And never, the rest of the world is not perfectly flat. You always get 3 angles. So, you gotta watch out for that. And the next thing is when you're up there washing windows, and if you can just lean over a little bit and get that one more window, we don't have to take and move that ladder one more time. So take time, move the ladders, do it safely. And then we'll enjoy our summer a little bit more if we're not.
Or hire a window washing company.
That's
right.
that's another, and that's just it. I don't do ladders anymore. I help the neighbor take off a service entrance riser off a flat roof. I got up there and I said, this is it. I'm not gonna do it. My balance is bad. And as you get older, those are the type of things to do. I have a driveway that's been in for 42 years. One day I'm out there, I'm going, what did this driveway get so steep? I can barely walk. Well, wait a minute. It's not the driveway, it's me that can't handle it anymore. So as we get older, our abilities to accept used to use. And just think ahead, but that goes with everything we do nowadays, is just try to plan ahead a little bit. So, but we have a guest with another one today.
I just heard this today about 20 minutes before I got here on Good Morning America. Do not buy your children blue swimming suits because they fade into the thing. If there's a lot of kids in splashing, a lifeguard cannot spot that kid.
I sure did. I
Did
feel that
you?
every
I've
single
seen
year.
several people post that on
Yeah, there's a
Facebook.
whole thing about like the different colors and how they look in a light colored pool, a dark colored pool, or in a lake to see what colors to buy your kids. some
Yeah,
suits.
so, well,
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Never
so
thought
it
of
is.
that.
well, they showed kids in blue bathing suits
You see
and
the
they're
head
really
and-
hard to spot. And then they had another kid in a bright colored striped suit and she was visible. But if there's just one kid and you're looking at, maybe that's okay, but it's a lot of kids and a lot of splashing, you're gonna miss that kid in that blue bathing suit. So I thought, well, they said kids, but maybe adults. If you're a big swimmer,
I should get rid of my blue babies.
I guess you need a new bathing suit anyway, right? So something, they mentioned neon orange, neon pink, and neon something.
We just don't know that much
They said,
either.
if you can't find neon bright colors, bright red, bright dark navy blue, bright, any kind of bright color, so your kid can be seen in the
I
pool.
don't like the camouflage.
The camouflage in the pool is blue.
Yeah, exactly. Put your kid in a camouflage pool. That's my safety tip.
Well, that's excellent. I suppose too, for, the guys in that, make Hawaiian type swimming suit that has long sleeves are better than the Speedos. They can't see as much as the Speedos. You don't know what a Speedo
So,
is.
yeah, I don't,
I know, it's not
okay,
blue.
so you wear a long sleeve shirt, is that what you're saying?
No, the swimming suits are long.
Yes, they go down to the knees. They're called jammers.
Oh,
Jammers.
Jammers,
okay.
yeah, but you
I
can have the
didn't know what
Speedos that, I'm a USA swim coach. I know everything that you guys are talking about here. Well, but it's hard because some of the high schools, and I'm a WIAA RAF, and some of the high schools, their colors are blue.
Mhm.
So it's,
Oh, they also mentioned white swimsuits, no blue, no white.
Yep.
For your little
well,
kids.
I don't think
for
I'd ever
West.
put a white suit on someone. Oh,
It's a
dear
kid.
God, I know, but.
Blue and white for the West.
And that was one of the reasons, there's a company out there, they're called Uglies. And what they have done, Uglies, and that's because they're so cool. They're a suit that's just vibrant, all colors, everywhere, splash. Every kind of line, every kind of, anything that you can think of, but it's just vibrant, and that's for workouts. That's why they came up with those suits. That was a few years ago,
It's
many years ago.
amazing where we go with safety shares. isn't it?
Yes,
What do
Yes.
you officiate?
I officiate swimming at the WIAA level,
Oh, okay.
boys
I
and
thought maybe
girls.
you were football.
No, but it was a football ref that got me into doing the swimming.
And Chris was a swimmer.
Bill
Yeah.
DeGroat, yeah, you probably know him
My neighbor,
since you've,
sorry.
paper, yeah, your neighbor. He's been reffing all sports, volleyball, basketball, football.
It's special to have people to do that because it's not an easy thing to do.
No, especially some of those sports. Swimming's kind of easy, you just walk up and down the pool, but you could slip, you could fall, so then we're talking safety here. Yeah,
Oh, wrestling, and then somebody's winning or losing and the calls are made,
Yeah.
and then you just look at the football refs and you see what's going on. Anyway,
Moving on.
moving on.
Next, we got the chairman's report. I'd just like to take this time to recognize Mike Norton. He was county board supervisor for 23 years, recently passed away. He devoted his pretty much life to government service between the city of Oshkosh. He was on many boards there and the county board. He really was out to make Winnebago County a better place for everybody. And I truly believe he'll be missed.
Here, here.
Next, we got
Oh, I do have the card with me. If there's any supervisors who haven't signed the card or want to make a contribution, because they're gonna plant a tree through park. Adam will figure out a place to put the tree, and we'll have a tree planted in his memory.
I'm actually gonna make a difference and we're gonna bench.
We're gonna get a bench too?
Cool.
that's
And
nice.
I wanted the stone bench like that Simpsons bench, not the,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you. Okay, sorry.
Karen, you're gonna have that at the next county board meeting, aren't you?
I'm having it at every meeting I attend, so yes.
Okay, perfect, because I ran out of the meeting that we just had. And, oh man, as I got to the car. So I'm planning on,
We have two
sign.
me- We have 2 meetings in May, so I'll be there at the special orders and the regular board meeting. And any other county meetings I have to attend, I will bring the card.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Next, we got the IW Division Extension Program Educators Report and Updates with Chris.
It's me.
Wise.
What I'm going to report on today is how we are switching from school year to summer. Our year runs October 1st through September 30th. And during that time, a lot of my time is spent in the schools. This year, I had about 10 different classrooms that I go into and work with the food wise and nutrition and teach everything from my plate and then all about fruits, vegetables, grains, dairy, and protein. And I'm finishing that up actually next week. I'm in Washington School right now and Roosevelt School, and I'll be finishing that up with them. Every year, when the school year starts, I call all the schools and then we put that on my calendar and then I go into their classrooms once a week and we teach them, we play games. I give them treats that are healthy so that they can learn all about that. So I'm finishing that up right now. I'm also going to be transitioning into the farmers markets.
That's what I see you every
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
So I'll be at the farmers markets this summer, but right now I'm finishing up with grocery store tours. Because during the winter months from November through May, I do grocery store tours. And anybody who goes through my grocery store tour gets a $10 gift card. We have that worked out with local partners. Grocery stores, Walmart and Festival Foods are very good with giving everybody a $10 gift card that attends. They also get a bag from us. It's a reusable grocery bag. We do the same thing at the farmers markets. This will be my 3rd year doing the farmer market tours this summer. And I've been working with Michelle, the farmers market manager, and Michael, who I think is part of the farmer market. There's like is that a board? I'm not sure exactly how that works, but every year I go to them and ask them for gift cards to give people who go through the farmers markets. Of course, all of these are people that I meet at the local pantry. So we do know that they need additional money to go through. What they learn at a grocery store and a farmer's market tour is the best bang for their bucks. What is unit pricing, healthier options, a whole grain versus a refined grain, where you learn all of that type of stuff. And then once they're done, they do it's just a fun game. They have to run through the store and try to get a bunch of stuff under $10, but something has to be from every food group. And then we hope that they purchase that, but they don't have to. And then we give them a $10 gift card to use at that store or at the farmer's market. So,
Wait a minute, you have to get some meat, dairy, vegetable, all this has to be under $10?
Small portions.
Yeah.
if you can, if
Okay,
you can,
okay.
it's not always feasible, but you know.
Could I have a quarter pound of hamburger, please?
Or it doesn't have to, I mean, you have to remember that there are beans and legumes that can be considered protein, that you don't
Oh,
have to,
right,
and we teach them that. It could be meatless Mondays and they can have beans, so
Okay.
there's lots of things that they do learn. So I'm gonna be transitioning into the farmer's market anyway. So this year was kind of fun because I contacted Michelle and Michael and I didn't even have to ask. They're like, oh, by the way, we have all of your money set aside already. So it's kind of nice knowing that they think about you ahead of time, because a lot of the stuff starts in April for it to start in June. So I started contacting them and they're like, oh, we've already got you down. So they give me $300. That means I can meet with 30 different people. The first year I met with 13 people. The second year it was 20. So I'm hoping to hit that 30 mark the third year, which would be kind of really neat. I'm assuming if I do have more, I could just go to the board and say, hey, this has been really big. Can we do this? The other thing that I wanted to talk about, first of all, any questions about that? Farmer market tours, grocery store tours, I'm transitioning into one out of the other.
If a supervisor wanted to join your tour just to see what you do, they're not gonna give us a $10 thing. You can turn it down, right? That's
Yes,
automatically
you
say,
can.
no, you have to take it.
No, thank you.
Okay.
You can.
Okay.
That's funny because I just had, right before I walked into this meeting, I was at the Oshkosh Area Community Pantry yesterday, and I have like 5 people scheduled for May for grocery store tours, which I'm really excited about. And I was just on the phone with one of the girls. She's like, hi, this is so-and-so, and I'm calling to make a date with you at Festival Food. She's just got this personality that was just, that's cute, that was big. So I scheduled her. And the other thing I want to talk about this summer, I'm doing something new. I am partnering with the Amro Boys and Girls Club, the Amro Library, and us, and Casa Esther, and we're doing a huge garden with kids program where Casa Esther has all of the gardens. We have, Casa Esther also got a grant, so we're going to be doing gardening with them, teaching them the planting, the weeding, the watering, and then we're Foodwise will come in and make things with them or let them try samples every single week. This will be on I'll be there 6 times throughout the summer, a couple times every single month, and it's new and very exciting. They got a grant for everything, seedlings. They might even get a new a park bench out there for people to sit. We've been doing this in other counties. So when I ran into someone that I knew, they were like, hey, I think we have a partner. And that was someone who works with Casa Esther. So that's going to be a big project this summer that I'm really excited about. So.
How
And then
long does Amro have a Boys and Girls Club? Can't be very big.
Well, I'm going to have anywhere between 10 to 12 kids every week.
Where do they have a separate building?
They do. They use actually the school, I believe.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they had a building on Main Street or something.
No.
So how much are they paying their director? Do you know? Do they have a director?
For the Boys and Girls Club? Yes, they do. Someone that helps run the Boys and Girls Club.
Is it, do you know if it's a paid position?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yes.
So they probably have to pay that off the tax roll, right?
That I don't know.
Okay,
I
thank
mean, I'm
you.
not quite sure. But they used to, I know they used to have a really good presence in Amro. Head Start also, and then some things happened and now it's coming back quite popular. So they figured I'd probably see, I might not see the same kids every single week, although that is a goal. But I would probably see about 40 to 50 different kids every, throughout the whole summer.
You never hear about that stuff. It's not in the paper, and I don't go online, so, I mean, it sort of surprised me that I think it's good, but it surprised me that Amro would have their own Boys and Girls Club. When Oshkosh has got one,
Mhm.
Berlin's got one, and they've been established for 50 years already. So it's good for Amro.
Yes, and what I do believe it will be put into the paper because although all of our.
Not in the Northwestern, they won't print that. Oshkosh Herald.
What they may do is put that in the Amro little paper. I think that they might have a little Amro paper.
Yes.
They have
They're
the
gonna put
Amro
that-
Herald.
Okay, the Amro Herald. So what they will do is they're gonna put it in the paper because although we are all funded to work with, low-income families, they are opening that up to the community as well, that they can come in and learn some of these things each week. They don't have to be part of the Boys and Girls Club. It's gonna be open to the community, so they will post that in the paper. Okay,
Thumbs
I
up,
just made your day, didn't I?
thumbs up.
I'm also transitioning into Menasha Boys and Girls Club. I always work with them every summer. And I know I gave you guys that curriculum last year. It's Team Cuisine. I'll be working with them on that.
I know the one in Oshkosh sure came a long way. It was when I was basically probably 13 years old. It was on Main Street in the Wagner's Meat Markets in there
Yes.
now.
Yep.
And, you look at what they have today, I mean, it's just a.
Did you see that they're,
So the YMCA, it's so big, but I still remember like the baker from Cops came there and he gave us a baking class and we decorated a cake and he taught us how to make roses. I mean, there was always something to do there and it was, really reasonable.
Yep.
So it was like, what a great thing to have in the community.
we do a lot with them during the winter months. We do a keep calm and cook on classes with them and they're all invited. And this last fall and winter, it was amazing. We had 18 different families every Thursday night to do cooking lessons and classes like that. That's a collaboration with Head Start, Oshkosh Boys and Girls Club, and then the Extension Office. And we work right in the Boys and Girls Club. So we do work with them as well. It's just, our time it has to be split up with all of them. So do some in the summer, some in the winter, and they're really expanding there. The nice thing about that is after their expansion is all done, they are gonna have community gardens and they're gonna call us for help with that too. So,
Can't beat that.
Doug, you hit the nail right in the head. Not having a paper really hurts. It hurts the local
Yeah,
economy because you don't know what's going on in your cities anymore.
yeah.
I know.
So I depend on this committee to find out what's going on. So we talk about a lot of stuff.
We try.
So that's just a few of the things that I have transitioning out of and transitioning into, plus more. Many other things, because again, I work for 4 different counties. So there's always something that I'm doing. But this is all happening in Winnebago County. Any questions?
You're at Outagamie, Calumet, and
What Paca?
Vilas.
No, Dallas is a little too far, but if you want me driving there, I like that drive.
Thank you.
She drives everywhere.
Yes.
Actually go to use some science with Sarah.
As I pass this out, just kind of off the record, but I just wanted to publicly thank all of you guys for the thoughts, the emails, the cards, visiting the church when my dad died at the end of February. Really appreciated it, including thank you for Supervisor Norton along with you, which was amazing because he's always been very supportive of our youth program.
Where did it go? I'm sorry.
No, it was my fault.
It just
I went to
kinda
reach
sailed.
it and I neglected it.
It kind of
So it was my
sails
bad.
there.
The curveball is pretty good.
But I know know, as I was just saying, Mike actually came with Steve to the church too, and I appreciate that because Mike has always been very supportive of our youth partnerships and always asked how my dad was doing with things. So that is I meant a lot, and I know I was always impressed with his I don't know, commitment to education and his service to the Oshkosh School Board and to the county board that he worked with some of you. So thank you very much.
It was impressive eulogy.
Did you stay for the service?
Sure.
See, I don't remember how many people were there. There were so many people in the church and I didn't look at faces when I was up there talking. Was there an extra copy of that anywhere?
Yeah.
I thought I made like 10. I thought that.
Yeah, they end up all by me.
Oh, okay. As we get started here, just some updates on things that I've been doing. I finished up a 6 weeks rotation at Geegan Elementary School in Menasha a couple weeks ago, and it was really exciting because I had some of the same students I've had other times, and a couple of them would ask for certain activities that I've done with them in the past. And I asked them why they wanted to do the same ones, and they said, because we want to be leaders, like you talk about in 4-H. So they had opportunities to help their newer friends in the programs I was in. And I've just started a rotation at Jefferson Elementary in Menasha, and I've got some really young kids right now, and they're amazing and fun to work with. As far as Cloverbud workshops, we had actually on here, I said that we had our workshop back in March, the end of March, and it was on sound, and Margaret Berger was here with me, and we worked on lots of different things, and actually even made some cool things that made sounds. And I don't know if the parents were totally impressed with what they walked away with, but making some obnoxious noises in the car, maybe on their way home. But we talked about sound waves and all sorts of neat things. And those kids will be joining us in our June workshop with our 4-H volunteer and ag in the classroom instructor, Rebecca Poppy. We're going to be talking about ice cream. We were originally going to go to a dairy or somewhere and get ice cream, but we're going to learn about ice cream. We're going to make some ice cream, and it's going to be very yummy and educational. So as I just mentioned, the explorers, the 3rd to 5th graders, will be with the Cloverbuds for this next one in June, on June 5th. But our explorers were just here this past Monday evening, and we talked about things that fly, and we talked about everything from bugs and insects to bugs and birds, and all sorts of different airplanes and things. And they were impressed with some things I had left over from one of our National Youth Science Day events. And I don't know if any of you were here several years ago when we had this event. I actually demonstrated this in this very room, and it went up and it got stuck in that light. So I don't think I'm going to demonstrate. Well, maybe I should, because it's just fun. And so the kids love it too. So lots of fun activity Monday night in the meeting room. And we had lots of fun. We built things, we threw things, we had a good time. Chick Quest has been going strong. I finished up another rotation at both Hoover Elementary in Neenah with some little 1st graders, and at Butamore Elementary with some 3rd graders. And it was the most successful hatching we've had since we started this program. Each school had 10 chicks, I believe. And they were so excied. I mean,
How many eggs did they get?
they had, I'm thinking they had 13.
And they got at least 10?
Yes. That was very much the most successful ones we've had.
And then where'd the chickens go?
They have been going to one of our 4-H poultry project leaders. That one, when I took them to her this last time, she's like, Sarah, we're done. I don't have room for any more. So the next ones that are at the schools that I'm at right now are going to another one of our 4-H families that have chickens. So
You're just too successful.
we're just, yeah, I guess. And it's been really exciting. And I think I put in here, I just started last week at Coolidge in Neenah and another classroom in Butamore. And those kids are super excited. And I have to tell you this, I walked into the Coolidge classroom, and the teacher there is a former 4-H alum. And she had taught her kids the 4-H pledge. Of course, we talked about it the first time I was there. And I do that every time I go into a classroom. But this is the first time I walked in, and the teacher said, we have something for you. And I was like, what's that? And the kids are all sitting on the floor and they all started, they're like, I pledge my head to clear, the whole class. And it was just the most adorable thing in the world. And next time I go, I'm gonna take a video of it. And I
Yeah.
said, they've never done that for me before. So that was super exciting. And on here it says, I'll be starting another rotation at Roosevelt Elementary next week. That's actually today. I'm going to Roosevelt for the first time. About noon today. I've got my tote ready to go, ready.
Did you want to drive together?
I would love to, but I have somewhere else I need to go immediately.
I have to be there too. Right after you.
Uh,
At Roosevelt?
in Indiana.
Oh, no.
No,
that's
you're
not
going to
bad.
Roosevelt, not Oshkosh. I'm going to Nina, yeah. And that one we learned about because one of our 4-H families actually said, hey, we did chicks with one of your 4-H kids last year, or one of the teachers did or something, and we want to do your Chick Quest program. So, I mean, our 4-H kids are getting the word out for us as well. So that's very exciting. Cloverbud Camp this year is going to take place at Heckrat. And we are, it's a little different. We're hoping to maybe get a bus to take the kids. So it looks a little more, feels like camp for the little ones. We are just setting interview dates for our middle school and high school kids who have applied to be counselors for Cloverbud Camp. Those kids will be interviewed by Dana and me on May 1st and 4th, I believe are the dates right now. We're excited to start a STEM event with Oshkosh Corp. They reached out to us. We had a Zoom with them, and we're going to be creating a couple things. I don't remember the exact things. There was like something with CDs, making cars. I don't remember all the details. But anyway, and something else. And the cool thing is they are going to host it at their global headquarters here in Oshkosh. And I don't know about you, but I've never been in that building. So I'm excited to keep that partnership going and get the information out to our kids soon. And lastly, I'd like to thank all of you for buying pizzas. We had another successful pizza making on April 1st. And we had new leadership. Some of our board members took charge and it was very successful. They sold just under 1,400 pizzas. They made more than 1,500, I think. They have sold all of the extras as of Tuesday night at our board meeting here. They sold the very last 2 pizzas, made a good profit, and everything worked really well. They had one of their lines done super early, and they had just about all the pizzas made, the original pizzas made before the second shift got there to start working at 10 o'clock or something that morning. So
I had one for dinner last night.
did you? I have a couple in my freezer.
I still have another one in my freezer.
I had not ordered any this year, but I ordered or bought some of those extras. There were just some little hiccups during the course of the day, but everything got made and everything got sold and lots of learning took place. And as it says, I had fun washing dishes. I washed lots and lots and lots of dishes, and I had some young kids helping dry them and stuff. It was a really fun day, and the kids learned a lot. Numbers were
What
done.
do you make them at the expo building?
Yes.
Okay.
I brought yours here, didn't I?
I picked up, yeah.
So, but some of the rest of you guys buy your pizzas and come over there. You're kind of late getting there. You should come a little earlier so that you can see that procedure and the tables and the kids running with, they weigh out the cheese and they measure out the sausage and they put on the right number of pepperoni, and we have to run and
The
buy
thing
more
is,
mushrooms.
the thing is mounted with stuff. It's not like a flat
And see,
freezer pizza.
that's the weird thing. They, some of them I think were made by some of the younger kids, and quality control wasn't quite up to par because when I was there were piles of stuff in the middle and nothing on the edges,
Oh, no, mine went all the way out.
but it did go all the way
Yeah.
up. When they do the pepperoni, they're usually like very particular, and it's a nice little ring by one in the middle, counted out.
Yeah.
They measure out everything. It's amazing.
I got sausage mushroom. There are a ton of mushrooms.
Yes.
Not like you go to
That's
pizza
maybe
place.
that's why we ran out of mushrooms.
They all have my pizzas.
They're supposed to measure. But I heard about it again at our board meeting Tuesday night, how they had to go out and buy more pizzas or more. We did end up buying more crusts from somewhere because of the hiccups, but everything worked out really well and everybody stayed very positive. Our numbers were a little down from before, but we're hoping to get back up. It's kind of a post-COVID thing too, but it's a fun day. If you ever have a chance to come over and help make pizzas or just watch the kids make pizzas, it's a pretty cool thing.
Actually, when they're about 10 o'clock and they're still making them and there's no line, so it works really good. At 11. Get there at 11 when you're actually supposed to start picking them up. And a lot of people got wagons because they take
Hundreds,
hundreds of pizzas.
literally.
So
Where do they store 100
Well, they
pieces?
sell them.
They've sold them and then they deliver them to
Oh,
their
okay.
By the way.
buyers.
I had to buy another freezer. Because my freezer, my home freezer is so small, I couldn't put it without putting a pizza like sideways.
Oh, no.
Mhm.
So shortly after I bought my condo, and there was a pizza sale, I thought, I can't, I bought a freezer. So
Well, thank you.
I'm taking it seriously, but I couldn't put 100 in there. I have a question about your presentation.
Yes.
How did adult chickens react to having their eggs taken away? Is it any different from just collecting eggs for breakfast in the morning? The reason I asked, there was a thing in the news about this golden eagle a male whose wings were, he's in a sanctuary someplace, can't fly, found a rock, and he'd been brooding on this rock for a long time, waiting for it to hatch. And finally, an eaglet was damaged or away from his parents, or they died, I don't know, came into the sanctuary, and he took on this eaglet, and he's now the daddy of this eaglet, because his rock wouldn't hatch, of course. And I thought, well, if they think that highly of, I mean, what happens when you start stealing their eggs? It's not any different than just collecting an egg for
No,
breakfast.
and we've gotten our last batches from Meyer Hatchery in Ohio,
Oh,
and that's what they do. I mean,
oh,
I mean,
okay.
I've got some videos I can show you of how this whole process
Okay.
works. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to go take the eggs from the hens at all.
Okay.
We just hope we get fertilized eggs, but which, depending on where we've gotten our eggs, we've had more successful hatching rates, I think, due to,
Okay.
we've learned a lot.
All right.
So neat is because when we did it here in the office, I would watch it at home because I knew some were going to be hatching and I'd watch and come in here and watch. I really didn't get as much as I should have done.
I know
That Chris,
well,
I
we
don't
had
want
that,
Chris to hear that, but
yeah,
it was
well,
so exciting.
we had that incubator on the counter
Yeah,
that first time, and it was,
everybody was coming down to watch.
yeah, people
Yeah.
in the building were coming to watch, and I mean, as soon as they're starting to hatch, it's kind of exciting. And I've been in classrooms where, like at the Hoover classroom, I walked in for the day that they were maybe going to start to hatch, and they had one. And that one chick was so loud. I mean, it was disturbing me. I'm trying to teach, and I'm like, and they were like, "That's Georgie." And I got all these thank you notes from the kids from that school, and they said, "We want you to know that Georgie quieted down when the others hatched." They had, just like you told us, he'd have friends and stuff.
He was yelling at the other ones, get out,
Yeah,
get out.
exactly. Come out and play with me. They trip through the shell, and then they wait a long time before they start actually cracking out. But
And what school was that?
that was at Hoover.
Okay.
My first graders, and then I walked into a classroom one day and they were hatching left and right, and the teacher was having them come in small groups to watch the next one hatch, and then the next group would come, and it was kind of cool. And another classroom I walked in and they were all hatching, and they were all around the table, and they're bumping the table, and the poor little chicks are bouncing all over. They all survived, but it's been really fun to see the
I
differences.
cannot imagine how these kids can be contained. When I was
Yeah.
watching this as much as I possibly could,
Teacher has more control of the class than you have of yourself.
probably, because I'd be like this the whole class.
And there was, I got a thank you note from one of the teachers, and I don't remember her exact words, but it was pretty much like, my goal for the year was to bring joy to my students, and throughout your program, we've successfully met that goal so far. You know,
Oh, that's
it was
so
just,
cool.
it was very cool. So Chick West has been very fun, and it's going to continue this summer with Dana and her intern Megan going out and doing things as well. So.
Any other questions for Sarah?
Good presentation.
Thank you.
Then we move on to Chris's report, outdoor classroom project proposal.
Yeah, so this is on for discussion only. I wanted to just provide an update because it's probably gonna, there's a, Dana and Sarah have contributed partially because of Chick Quest. have brainstormed an idea to have an outdoor learning classroom, which would include, but not be limited to a chicken coop for summer use on site here back behind over where the old, well, there's a,
The infamous ditch.
yeah, the old satellite system that used to be in place for extension programming, which hasn't been used for probably close to 25 years, is potentially in that area. So where we're at right now is we've reached out to Mike Elder for just the feasibility, like, is this even possible? Mike gave a laundry list of some places and some steps that we need to make sure that we continue to see if it's feasible. Dana has reached out to the city of Oshkosh and already has a letter providing a exemption for this being a commercial property to allow for the up to four birds to be able to be present, because in the city at residential properties there are, but commercial properties there are limits. So because it's an educational thing. So we're starting to work through the process. At some point, I will need to go through the formal agenda item brief, connecting with executive's office, bringing the formal for this group's approval. Once we get the overlook of, or what the whole project could be. And then also it would go to facilities, the facilities committee as well, because it would be outdoors. So a couple of things. There are, this would all be grant and donation funded, so there are no taxpayer dollars. It would also looking at also having some raised, some garden beds, so it can be a multi-use for the spring, summer, and early fall period only. We would not have any chickens in any of the not so hospitable months. We would, because we want people to be able to come and experience it, using the space for not only youth to be able to come and use it as a teaching classroom, but also for there to be signage and information. So if somebody happens to be walking down the sidewalk and they're like, hey, what's going on over there, that there would be information to help them learn. So I just wanted to give a heads up that we're beginning the process. Because of the timing, we're not 100% sure that we would get, I mean, we're hoping to have it still in place, at least, maybe not the garden portion, but at least the coop could be built this year. We don't know if it would be ready to house any birds yet this year, but it would definitely be ready for next spring, for sure. We're kind of a cool idea. Probably would have been, as Dana said, if we would have thought of it 6 months ago, we would be through this. But I just wanted to give a heads up and ask and just give a space for any questions or concerns that anyone might have, so that we can include those and address those as we go. Because we haven't bought any supplies, we haven't broke any ground, we haven't asked for formal approval yet. So we're kind of pulling things together before we come back for the formal, go through the formal process.
I want to add a little bit to that. This is something that Foodwise and our horticulturalist Madison, we will all be involved in this. This is going to be like a nice project for most of us here. Of course, they have the gardens, and then you have Madison who will help grow things. So this will be a nice project for all of us.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be something of,
Yeah.
interest of the public and.
Because we were explaining to Dana and Sarah what we are doing with the other gardens. So that's when all of a sudden, I think the light bulbs went up. Plus, they're doing something very similar in Wapaka. Christy, my coordinator, and Haley, and that just sparked Dana's, well, we have this spot out here. So all of a sudden, that's how it all came about. It's kind of exciting. So I'm hoping it all goes through.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was no problem with it. I mean, I would assume we'd go through it. If you were gonna do the obstacles, let us know.
Yeah.
what we're here for.
Yep, and if anybody does have any questions or thoughts, we'll try to get this back on the agenda. I know I need to touch base with Ethan and John in the exec's office just to, because that's the standard operating procedure for when we have agenda items. So we'll pull those things together for the more formal review. So, but again, not planning that all grant and donation. So this would really be, the county would essentially be providing the space in kind for the learning laboratory. So we utilize the existing space, but it wouldn't be at the expense, or at least significant expense. We might have some small operating supply expenditures out of our budget, but we're also, Dana's already working on ideas for getting funds, raising funds, or utilizing volunteers and all of those pieces, even for building, even once a design is developed for the coop, volunteers to build the coop and do that, which, that if we're working with volunteers, that's why it may not be built for this year yet, because we're capitalizing on the kindness of others to be able to do that. So I know some of those things are already worked out, or working out in Dana's head, and we just need to get all of the pieces in place. So continuing on, I appreciate the support. Continuing on, I presented a handout, and Kay, if you didn't get it, were you able to email it to Kay? Okay, so Kay, I'm just going through my administrative update. So this month, all three of the committees that I meet with essentially meet 3 committees in 4 business days. So Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. And as I was preparing and getting my notes, I noticed some similarities, and I thought, I'm gonna, it would be probably wise of me to use my time, and I will put together an administrative update that would intentionally would include all 3 of the counties, because oftentimes you have asked, like, hey, what's going on in Wapaka, what's going on in Outagamie Extension, things like that. So intentionally, the other piece is that this tool also is a communication piece, because I was able to share it with all of the educators in the county's support teams and give them an update. So trying to be efficient, but a couple of things. Getting through, we just completed, or not just completed, but at the end of March was the first quarter of the 2023 fiscal year. In all of the budgets, but especially in Winnebago County, we are on track or underspent in most of the categories. That is not uncommon. There are some soft or hard freezes on spending in January before you can get going. And there, some of the educational programs, I know some of the schools, there's a little bit of a break and they start to ramp up a little bit towards the end of the month. So expenses might not, outlay might not happen. And any of like the other meetings or like professional development, which is going to start to occur, doesn't really get going until later February, March, those types of things. So we're going to be, we'll get back on track. The other biggest part of the budget is it'll be mid or later spring, so probably May, that we'll get the first installment for the UW contracted services agreement, so the invoice for that, and then that category will then show, it'll actually show about 50% spent when it's prior to the quarter, give or take. So we're doing well. I am already beginning the process of getting some of the pieces in place to begin the 2024 budget conversations. So I get roughly about 2.5 months, maybe 3 months, and we're already working on that. And I will engage with this group as we go very shortly, once I pull together some of all of those things that annually we need to pull together before we start having some of those conversations. And also working with our new finance director here and the rest of the team to figure out where our priorities, where the budget parameters are going to be. I think in all 3 of the counties and in almost all counties, our budgets are going to be tight unless there's significant relief that's provided at the state level as part of the 23 to 25 biennial budget, as far as state aids to local municipalities. So I don't think it's gonna be, it's not gonna necessarily be joyful. And as groups, we're probably gonna have to look and make some tough decisions. So hopefully we can just have some good conversations and make the best decisions to impact the most people possible. So that's coming up. So area-wide that affects Winnebago County, we did the regional dairy educator position that is Winnebago, Outagamie, Shawano, and Oconto counties is moving forward. Applications, there was, we screened the applications and we have preliminary interviews with 3 individuals next week, Thursday. So that's going to be the Zoom interviews, and from there we'll move to final interviews on May 15th. So hopefully we'll at least have a candidate identified around the 1st of June, and depending on where they might be in life, they'll be able to start, shortly after, and we'll be able to make some introductions soon. A couple of other pieces with regard to Winnebago County. Last meeting, I announced that Jody Mazzio was transitioning and she's settling into her new role in Land and Water. She still is serving as a great point of contact, especially for some meeting room reservations. Also had some projects. She had started some projects with some of our organization and disposal or reduce, reuse, recycle of some unneeded or unwanted office items. The good news is that next week on Thursday, which is the start of the pay period, it sounds really weird for someone to have their first day on a Thursday, but that's how Winnebago County pay periods start on Thursday. So we start people on pay periods when we can. Robin Franzita is going to join our team. Robin comes with a title and escrow background and has a real strong attention to detail and ability to multitask. And she has an overall personality that we think is going to fit with our culture. So with our office team. So looking forward to welcoming Robin. And at an upcoming meeting, we'll at the very least have her pop her head in and introduce herselves and get to know you guys a little bit. I want to sincerely thank Steve and Chris for being serving on the search and screen committee for our health and well-being educator. We had some really good candidates, and their insights and their gut instincts and their judge of character is very much appreciated. We did identify a preferred candidate, but we also have a candidate that is a very, very close, a close B candidate. So I am in the process of doing all of the fun things that I need to do to, do the reference checks and those conversations, and I'm moving that forward. I'm not quite ready to announce a name yet. We don't have anything official yet, but if either our first or second choice of the candidate we're able to accept, and we're able to have them join us, we will be a strong asset to our team. So that is really the pool itself was, we had over 30 applicants apply for this position. We actually, the best we could do is we narrowed it down to 8 for our preliminary interviews. But we did have a couple of candidates who, in this busy market, they withdrew because they had already found other opportunities. So we got that down to 6, and then we interviewed 4, of which we had 2 that that the team, we can see them doing the role within the community. So really excited about that. That hasn't always been the case with some of our search and screens with the way that this market is. The one other note that I do want to share is that Megan Numerick is going to join and work. She'll work, Dana's going to be her supervisor. She's going to work in some of the projects that both as a summer 4-H program assistant. So two things: provide some extra capacity during a busy time in which there's opportunity for increased education, or there's some larger programs that are happening. So an extra set of trusted hands. The other piece is it's also part of our recruiting pipeline. I mean, it exposes individuals to extension careers and county government-based careers to be able to provide them an opportunity that maybe eventually somewhere they might say, hey, this isn't a bad career experience. I firmly believe it because that's what happened with me. I was a summer 4-H and horticulture assistant, had a positive feeling about extension. And after I had enough fun teaching, I said, hey, I think I wouldn't mind going back to extension and working for extension. So it does work. It's something that we're doing. So Megan's going to start May 24th. So she's currently a college student, so she's going to wrap up her college year and then join the team in early or late May into early June.
So she is graduating. She's graduating this year.
She's not, no, she's just a college student.
Oh, I
So
thought you said she was finishing up for college. whatever.
She's finishing up her year.
Oh,
So
year, okay.
finals.
Because I was gonna say, okay, so if we like her, is there a place for her to go after August, but she's
Right.
going back to school?
She's going back to school.
She's got another year.
Another,
Yeah,
okay.
so, and then one of the other things, and this is just an overall facility update. One of the pieces that Jody had worked on is she really led the effort in trying to help us downsize or clean out some older unwanted things. So for example, I don't remember the number, Amy, how many 4-drawer filing cabinets we were able to purge. So one of the things that we found is that when there was a furniture upgrade, there were lateral files and some other filing cabinets that were utilized, but the tall cabinets weren't really, we kept them. And they were in all kinds of corners and spaces. And what we realized is that the amount of paper file storage that we have has really diminished. We don't have a need. We still have paper files and hard copies that we store, but the capacity that we had far exceeded what the need was. So we identified and we surplused, I think it was 14, we had 14 extra, 12 or 14 extra for tall filing cabinets that were, that just had junk in them. So we were able to surplus them. The county was able to get a little bit of money back, and now they haven't left yet, but
Most of
Some of
them
them-
have.
most of them have, you're right,
They're
they
only
have.
by my office.
We only
Yeah.
have a handful of stuff left that hasn't been
Yes.
picked up.
So we were able to surplus some things. There were some county departments that kind of took our hand-me-downs. So there's nothing that's going into a landfill, or at least we're not putting anything into a landfill. And we're also able to help out. I know I happen to meet, I've met a couple of the people coming in, and these are small business owners or others that are trying to get things started. And this is an inexpensive way for them to help outfit their office. So it also clears out a little bit of space for us to, as we start looking at what kind of flexibility might we have with the office spaces as we've been moving around, and just creating a little bit more room to move around. So I'm pretty excited. I really appreciate Jody taking the lead and everyone else who has contributed to the process. The whole team has said, oh yeah, we did yes, no days every now and then, where we'd walk through, yes, no, yes, things to keep and save and things to repurpose.
It had to bring you joy, right?
Well, there were things that, we had reference materials that we had like 35 copies and we really only need 3.
Okay.
Because it's actually, if we do anything, we're gonna make, if they're out of print, we would actually copy and convert them into PDF files because they could be printed into hard copy or they could be used electronically.
Okay.
So those types of things. We also found some really cool gems, some historical or some old pieces, and we didn't get rid of those types of things. There just may be some items that we may rehome because there may be better spots for them. We found all of the original drawings for the Coughlin Center, and they were rolled up and kind of tucked away, hidden away. And I think there's we have to continue reaching out. I think there's a better spot for those, and there might even be some cool things that might be able to be, there's some of them that might be
Trying
able
more
to
of those helicopters?
We might be able to, possibly look at framing, framing some of the drawings and use
Yeah.
that as part of the, kind of this, tell the story of the building and to honor Mr. Coughlin. So, so those types of things, there's a whole box Jody uncovered, and I'm not exactly where she found it or where it was. There was a box that was back to that had the archives of the most recent farm technology days. Actually, it was probably farm progress days when it was held here. And there were a couple of individuals that are like, I know there's these historical materials. I know they're around, and nobody really knew where they were. Everyone's like, I know they're around. And I think Jody did bring some joy when she made a phone call and said, hey, that stuff you were looking for, we found it. And so some of those types of things to get them in the right hands of people so that they can continue telling the story of some significant events. I think it's cool. It's worthwhile. I know we need to keep, there's also some old books that you're never going to be able to see. So we kind of have some, old, some 1930s and 40s, textbooks and, extension related that those aren't going anywhere. Those are part of our history. So, it's just kind of fun to be able to do some of that. And I appreciate everyone for doing their part to kind of create a little bit more space so that we can use it. For all of the current and new things that are coming.
I was surprised. You had 3 easels online and they were up over $30, And normally you can buy a filing cabinet for less than $5. And I bought a desk from the county for like $5 and I spent $120 to repaint it. But I wanted it for my shop for woodworking,
Yep.
But it's like furniture doesn't sell for hardly nothing. And, I just kind of watched the county's website.
Yep.
And most of that stuff, it isn't even worth probably the county's time of putting it online, but they have to, they can't just
Right.
dispose of it. But they start out with $1 and a lot of it doesn't even get a bid, But I was really amazed that the easels, I think, started out at a couple dollars and they were up over 30 the last time I looked at it. And you can buy an easel for $17, So it's like, they're almost what you could have bought them for.
Yeah.
We had one guy that bought like hundreds, if not 1,000 file folders for
Folders.
$1.25.
Wow.
He eventually told us, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
We bought a desk too. We put it in our garage and it's for all my husband's fishing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you get them for cheap.
For all different.
And see who paid it for you.
$20.
$120 paid, that's looking for my labor.
We'll use it as it stands.
But it was a fun project,
Yeah. Probably worth a 4-H badge or something.
Any questions for Chris?
You can't have that.
Hearing none, then we'll go on to the announcement for upcoming extension events at the county board meeting for discussion. Anything you'd like us to announce? Hearing none, then we go to the committee comments. Any comments?
I already gave my comment for the safety share, so.
Hearing none, we'll go to the next meeting date would be May 18th. And I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second,
All in favor?
I.
Aye.